You can ethically motivate anyone to buy absolutely anything, and it has nothing to do with being pushy or being sleazy. In this video today, I'm going to walk you through the exact behavioral science framework that turns overthinking potential buyers into guaranteed buyers. When I was younger, I used to really struggle with motivation. I used to look at successful people and think to myself, man, I really wish I was one of those highly successful, motivated people, right? And I used to just assume I was lazy because I couldn't get myself to take action. Eventually, I realized the actual truth, and the actual truth was I wasn't lazy, I was just a massive overthinker. And then when I got into sales, when I started looking at marketing, I started studying behavioural science, I started studying persuasion as well, a light bulb went off in my head. And I thought to myself, these prospects, the people who are potentially going to buy from me, those ones who say, I need to think about it, they aren't lazy either. They are just overthinking the decision. They are paralyzed by choice. And so our job as business owners, as marketers, isn't to push people or be sleazy to people or to trick them into, buying from us. Our job is to ethically remove friction whilst making them more motivated. And here are the 3 behavioral science levers that you can use to do exactly that. Lever 1, social proof. When an overthinker doesn't know what to do, they look at what everyone else is doing. It's an evolutionary survival mechanism. If you tell them your product is great, that's a sales pitch. If 100 people just like them say your product is great, now that's a fact, right? And that motivates them to actually move and to actually change their opinion and potentially to start buying as well. So if you want to motivate someone to buy, you have to show them the exact people who are in the exact same situation as them, who have already made the decision to go with your product, your service, whatever you're selling, you're coaching, and they've won by doing that. You can't just show people generic reviews. You've got to show them case studies, user counts, testimonials, increased growing view counts or visitor pages. And those people who are hesitating, it takes some of that away because the motivation to do that pushes past. We are a herd species, and when humans see a herd moving safely in one direction, our brains have this tendency to shut off the overthinking and we just end up following instead. Lever 2, loss aversion. Most salespeople spend all their time talking about what the client is going to gain. You're going to make more money, you're going to lose more weight, you'll save more time. But behavioral science proves that human beings are actually wired to fear losing something twice as much as they desire gaining something. So the pain of losing $100 hurts way more than the joy of finding $100. To ethically motivate an overthinker, you need to frame the choice around what the person stands to lose if they do nothing. What is that cost of inaction? Are they losing time? Are they falling behind their competitors? Are they missing a limited window of opportunity? Are spaces for whatever you're selling or items that you're selling, are they running out rapidly, and that's going to cause them some sort of problem? When you frame your offer as a shield that prevents them from losing out, urgency will actually spike because of that. Now, lever number 3, baby steps, I like to call this one. And the biggest mistake you can make with an overthinking prospect is asking them to make a massive leap all at once. Something like, hey, sign this 12-month contract for $5,000. I know you've never met me before and I know you know nothing about me, but if you sign this contract, you'll be fine, right? That actually triggers panic. I know that sounds obvious to hear, but sometimes what is intuitive to us or common sense isn't actually common practice. So instead, you've got to use a psychology of micro commitments. You've got to break a large request into tiny, zero friction baby steps. You've got to ask them a simple question that they have to agree on. Have them fill out a short intake form. Get them to agree to a small audit or a trial. Humans have a psychological need for consistency. consistency. This is a fascinating topic, by the way, but just for the sake of this video today, we won't dive too much into it. But humans do have this need for being consistent. We have it. We attach our identities to things, and then we must be consistent with this previous commitment that we've made. It's the commitment and consistency principle. And once we start a journey, we are infinitively more likely to finish it. So if you can get people to say yes to something tiny, then a big yes later on becomes a logical conclusion and becomes something people want to do. For instance, if you picture a staircase, you don't get from the bottom of your stairs to the top of your stairs in one step. It goes in actual steps like this. So work out what the first step is they need to take. What is that form of commitment that they need to give to be more convinced to get to the top later on. So if you apply social proof, you lean into loss aversion, you break everything down into baby steps. If you do that, it's a very ethical way to remove the friction in your prospects, the lead's brain, and watch your close rate go up. But if I told you the fastest way to get someone to buy from you is to actually tell them why they shouldn't buy, that sounds completely backwards, but there's actually a behavioral science tactic called the reverse warning. You can pick something on the product or service you're selling and deliberately highlight a downside of it, and it will trigger a psychological loophole that a lot of billion-dollar brands actually use, that builds trust and actually builds the value of that. If you want to learn how to do that, I've made a free video of that next. You can watch that video, click it on the screen now, and I will see you there. Take care.